Hello, warm greetings to everyone. So on this month we are going to see about another one new topics in data analytics is called errors and their types. So errors may occur in everywhere. So when we have to collect that is the data. So such a error is called that is the statistical error. So when we are talking about that is the statistical error, it describes the difference between a value obtained from the data collection process and the true value for the population. So that means now we are going to see that is parliamentary election on this next year. So now everywhere every news channel is going to publish the pre-poll statistics. So which party will come to that parliament on this next year. So every channel they are having that is a certain race. So the some channel may say, so we are providing that is the accurate data. And then so some channel may claim that in previous elections we predicted true data. So these are all the things that's happened in every election period. So how they are saying, so our channel is good and then some channel is not good. So it's all about the errors in that, on the percentage of the errors that is happening in the data. So if anyone claims the errors that is happening in the data, it seems to be that less, and then the accuracy of that outcome seems to be that very high. So how this statistical error may occur? That means I am going to make a survey with a group of people. So take an example, in Tamil Nadu we are having that 39 districts. So each district is having that some dozens of the wards. In each ward some population is there. So we may classify these wards in three categories, rural and semi-urban and then urban. So these are all the major classification. In case if I am taking in that rural, each ward may have the population of some 1,000, 1,500 or the 2,000. In semi-urban, it may comes around some 5,000, 7,000 or that 8,000. In case if you are taking that same thing in that urban, it may comes around some 50,000 or 60,000, or it may be even in that lakh in case if you are taking that city like a metropolitan. So each ward may have that certain value of that population. But from there we are collecting that is the data. So the data may have that certain errors because we can't able to meet that is all the people and then so get the input from that all the people. That's not possible. We can't able to meet out all the population that is presented in that particular ward. So automatically that will leads to the statistical error. The statistical error can't be preventable. That will happen. But one thing we can do, we can able to reduce the impact of that statistical error. So I can able to raise the accuracy of that data. So now we have to see now what that error makes a matter in the results. So I'm having that is more error, the results of that outcome seems to be error. So I can't able to justify. So the result what I got from the data, is it correct or not? Because it may have that certain errors. So when I'm going for that analysis or when I will do that is that analysis, so I have to thoroughly check my data is in good condition. So this is also one property of that pre-processing of the data. In pre-processing we are saying there is the two parameters. One is we have to fill that is the missed data, and another one we have to reduce that errors that's happening in the data. So when we are talking about that is error in a data, so there is the classifications, that one is called the sampling error and another one is called the non-sampling error. The sampling error means in the previous example, so what I said, so I am going to visit to that one particular ward and that ward it's having that population of the 10,000. I can't able to meet that is all 10,000 people. So instead I have to cluster the group of the population by its age, because each and every data collection purely based on the problem. So what I'm working on it is say in that election based kind of that problem, so there I have to group or that I have to cluster that entire population by age group. So for cast their votes, the minimum age limit is 18. So 18 to 25 I may cluster that is very freshers a group of the people, those who are going to cast their vote as a first time. And the second set, it may be some at 25 to 35 or that 40, that's considered almost lower middle aged of the people. And then so 40 to 50, that is considered that middle aged, and then 50 to 70 or that 75 or that 80, that is considered the aged people. So these clusters may reduce, that is the errors when I have to go for the sampling. And earlier I said we can't able to meet all the people and that's get the input. So I clustered this population and collected some data from that group of age group of that population. So I have to apply that data in that manner of that inference. So already I explained so what is that inference in my previous tutorial. So there you may learn so what is the inference and then what is the purpose of that inference, how it make an impact in that errors. So these are all the things already we know. So by that inference I can able to map the data set with that entire population, and I can able to implement or that I can able to extract some outcome from the data set. So the sampling errors may occur so when we have to be make an inference with that entire data set. Sure, so that will happen. But how we can able to reduce that sampling error, just taken and one calculation. So Indian population, so that is the 51% of the men, and then so that is the population of 51%, that is 49% of the men is there, and then so 2% of the women is there. So that will reach to the sampling error. I can't able to implement that inference with that percentage. So when we have to collect the samples, we have to keep it up equal proportionate for that men and then so women. Because men having that certain attitude with that political party, meanwhile women is also having that certain attitude with that political party. So when we are taking that analysis for that pre-poll survey, and we have to be taken into that care in the population. So how much of the percentage I collected as in the men group, and then so how much of the percentage of the sample I collected in that women. So if I am saying that is that percentage, the percentage should be computed with that two categories. For that entire population, how much of the percentage of the women is there, and then from that how much of percentage of the women, what about my percentage of that sample. In the same way also I have to compute for the women population also. If the population seems to be, or that sample seems to be that very small for the population, and then the accuracy it seems to be very less. So I have to go with that higher sampling with that more population. And next factor is called that is that non-sampling error. In the non-sampling error, make an impact with that interviewers or the questions so what we asked, and then so how the people responded, and then how I record that is the response from the people. So all this category making that impact on that's a non-sampling error. So now we have to see so how that the non-sampling error will occur. So the coverage error. So in that entire population, so how much I cover. So that is also comes under the category of the coverage error. And then so non-response error. We may ask the question, the people may answer or not, or some people purposefully answer with that very wrong thing, so when we have to take and survey. So that also be happened with that population. So non-response error is also comes under the category of the non-sampling. And then so response error. So that people will respond okay, but accidentally they may respond in that some negative way. So that may be record, or by typo error, or by that selection error. So that also happen when we have to be collect that samples. So this is response error. And then the next one, that is the interviewer error. So the questions so what we asked, or the questionnaires so what we put in the website, or through by the Google form, or that something, the understandability of the question by the viewer, it's giving that very important. So the interviewer should give the clear cut of that question. The question should be understandable to the person, those who are going to answer. So if the question doesn't ask that's properly, so that will also create certain error through by that's a non-sampling. And next one, that is the processing error. So when we are applying that inference, or when we are processing the data, when we classify that attributes, so when we are filling that missing data, or we have to make the relationship among that attributes. So all these things comes under the category of that processing error. So we studied about that is the two kind of that errors. One is called that is the sampling errors. The sampling errors means the proportion of the population with that sampling samples, so what I took from that population. And there's a non-sampling error, so what I said earlier, so the recording of the data, analyzing of the data, and processing of the data, the response from the customer, and then the questionnaire or the interview. So what we ask with that people. So these are all the things that make and so impact with that error. So up to this I am concluding on that. So next we have to see about how we have to reduce these errors, that is a sampling or that's a non-sampling error. We have to see in the next part of this video.